You are now listening to Season 4 of Blacklist Hustle Podcast. What is up, everyone? I am so excited to be here. It is your host, Mariana Garola. I am back. We are better. We have evolved. We have grown. We are no longer Blacklist Hustle Podcast. We are now evolving through vulnerability. Because of the brand change and stuff, I just wanted to say thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for being a listener. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate the support that you continuously give me, regardless if it's on the podcast and listening, if it's subscribing to the YouTube channel, if it's following me on my journey on Instagram. I just want to say thank you and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. I just wanted to say that we did rebrand just because of the fact that, like I said, we evolved as I evolved, as my brand has evolved, as my mission and what I'm trying to do, the impact, the legacy that I'm trying to leave. As it grows, I just realized that the brand also needs to grow as well. So we are now evolving through vulnerability. This is something, vulnerability is such a big word for me because it's just, what does it really entail? What does it mean? You don't just want to use words and throw them around and, quite frankly, them not have a meaning. So vulnerability means so much to me. I love the fact that I'm able to be vulnerable. I'm happy at the fact that I am an emotional person because I'm able to express. I don't have a poker face and you can't, I feel like I cannot hide how the way that I feel about things that happen and the way that I move and how things are in certain situations. I'm a very person that acts very fast. I do try to think before I do, but I do know for a fact that I act before I think. And I do know that you will see it on the expression on my face and, through those actions and stuff. So I'm so excited that the rebrand is evolving through vulnerability and stuff because I just feel like with everything that's been going on since the pandemic started, and I feel like, the start of this podcast and all my new projects and business ventures, I just feel like a lot of vulnerability has happened, a lot of growth has happened, a lot of learning has happened, which is really good when you're growing and you're failing and you're learning and you're succeeding and you're celebrating small wins and you see some change. There has to be some vulnerability. There's definitely growth. So these are things that we need to discuss, and these are one of the reasons why I said I wanted to start this podcast, you guys. I told you I wanted to get into podcasting. This was something that was really important to me, not only because I love to talk and I feel like I have something to say, is because what I feel like I have to say and talk about is value. That's why today's episode 24, is Ice Ice Baby. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily talking about Vanilla Ice in the song, even though it goes so perfectly with today's episode title. It's mainly geared around what my mission is, what I'm trying to do, what this podcast brings, what you as a listener are going to gain from this podcast, okay? So before we jump into today's episode, I definitely want to give you guys the what's tea, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and jump into, I want to take a moment to sincerely apologize and to give my heart to the listeners and to take a moment for people to realize and understand that last year in 2020, the last 3 holidays are so important and so symbolic around family and spending time together, regardless if you mainly spend it with family or friends or, both. A lot of people, through the last couple of years of the pandemic have lost family, loved ones, friends, homes, and, things, and haven't been able to do as much. And I just wanted to say, if you are a person who has been affected by the pandemic, COVID, have lost someone, known someone who lost someone, has, gone through anything pandemic related, lost your job, have been suffering, have been laid off of work, I just want to say I'm sorry. And I apologize, and you are strong and you will get through it. And, in anything, if anything else fails, know that you can always turn to God. I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not really religious. I'm really spiritual. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that at the end of the day, there's always someone you can talk to, regardless if you wanted to call it a God, whatever you wanted to call it religion-wise. Just always know that if you want to talk, someone's listening. at the end of the day. And that's the only way that we're able to kind of get through these things is by helping each other out and by having faith and holding on to hope. I don't believe, to be honest with you, that the pandemic is going to change. I don't think that there's a new normal or anything getting back to the way that it was. I feel like the world is changing, and as animals evolve and adapt to its surroundings, we as a species, as humans, also need to evolve and adapt with the earth and the surrounding and the situations around us and stuff. But I just definitely wanted to take a moment and just let you know that from the bottom of my heart, I do apologize. I am feeling with you. I am going to be praying for you. I hope whatever you're going through, you overcome and you come out on top even more than me. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this What's Tea, y'all. So for my What's Tea, alrighty, I wanted to tell you listeners, in 2022, we need to mind our business. Okay, I feel like this year, I feel like I want to do a 6 months challenge with y'all. And I say this is because I've been seeing everything talking about give yourself 6 months. Give yourself 6 months and see the change. Regardless if this is physical change, mental change, spiritual change, financial change. Give yourself 6 months of dedicated hard work to something. And when you do that, you will see change. I feel like 2022 is a real good embodiment for change and for growing. And if you didn't do that in 2021, I feel like that is something you need to do in 2022. Definitely something for me this year is my goal for 2022 is touch. My key word is touch. How many hearts can I touch? How many lives can I touch? How many lives can I change with what I am capable of doing without hurting me, my home, my family? I'm a big person on, like I said, being vulnerable, being very emotionally involved with people and their situations and their lives, and always wanting to get back and feel this need to help and be a superhero or be Captain Save-A-Ho, whatever you want to call it. To be quite honest with you, I always feel this need, or like almost like a guilt that I have to do this, and I'm not sure why. But I feel like in somewhat way, I'm just going to call it a purpose of mine is to help others, regardless if it's through communication, through, praying for you, if it's, through just simple communication, maybe something that I said or do or whatever. I just want to be able to touch the lives of others and make them feel good and make them feel wanted and let them know that there's hope and, to keep pushing and having faith and, just letting them know that giving up is just not an option. We can't give up. I can't explain to you guys how much these past couple months and year I've been wanting to give up. 2021 was exhausting. You know what I mean? Because, quite frankly, I started the podcast, and we were doing really good and we were being consistent and stuff. And then I turned around and added another business, Secrets by Heaven, that I wanted to do for my daughter, selling products and stuff like that. And somewhere in between, or when I added on that second business, I realized that one, it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. It was something that I felt I needed to do as bring in more source of income. So I wasted a lot of money. And then two, also what I really realized is, what I also needed to do. Like, I just realized the theme and the feeling of everything that I was doing was really draining. Trying to succeed, financially and make it and be this, not necessarily influencer, but be someone that matters where people are like, oh my gosh, like I love this person's content. I love her podcast, or I love what she has to say. It means something to me. And I just realized it was draining trying to be that and trying to produce that for people. And because it was so draining, I just felt like giving up. I feel like it was so much, especially as a person trying to be someone, trying to help inspire, trying to be an activist, trying to do all these things. What we tend to not realize is, or what some people tend to not realize, and all these things that we're trying to do and not seeing progress helps that give up creep a little deeper into our flesh of, okay, you know what? This isn't working out. I need to give up. I jumped out on a limb. I gave faith. Faith slapped me and was like, hey, you can't have this faith. You can't have hope. What you're doing is not right. And, you're not going to succeed. So therefore, why did you even take this leap of faith? Why did you jump? And so I was just being so drained, not seeing what I wanted to see financially, or see the growth, or, still to this day, I always revert back to season 1 of the podcast, my first 5 episodes where I talked about, support and, a family and friends and stuff like that. And then I just have to remind myself, I told my listeners that people aren't always going to support you, and that's okay. And we don't need validation. And I have to constantly remind myself that as I take business ventures, if I take project ventures, if I do something, not everyone is going to understand. Family's definitely not going to understand. Some friends might not understand. It's not for everyone to understand. It's your journey, and whatever you're trying to do, it's you alone that's, going through it and trying to do and accomplish it. So understand that just giving up isn't an option. Keep pushing through. Make sure that it's something that you want to do, something that you want to accomplish. Like I said, 2021 to me was a year of realization and a year of growth. And then this year is going to be a year of touch and a year of perseverance, where no matter what, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to make sure I give it my all, and I'm going to make sure no matter what the outcome is, if I do or do not see anything, my goal is not to physically see something. My goal is just to make sure that when I put in all that effort, it's to touch someone. It's to touch someone's heart. It's to change a life of someone. It's to touch you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, just really get you in a perspective of, what, that meant something to me, that spoke to me, that resonated with me. Thank you. So that's something that I just wanted to really get off my chest. And that's really what I have for the What's Tea, you guys, because, everybody should be minding their own business. You know what I mean? I was on Instagram and I saw that one, audio or whatever. And it's like I think like a Ghanaian or like Jamaican like theme or whatever. And it was like, what are we doing in 2021? And she was just like, drink my water and mind my business. I got to see if I can find it now at the audio clip. But oh my goodness, I thought that was so great. I was like, yep, everybody need to be minding their business, staying inside, doing them and stuff like that. I don't want to give you guys too much of a life update just because I want to have Darian on the podcast and really deep dive into those deep conversations on what we've been doing and how our relationship is, where our family's at, what's going on. I know there's just like so many things that I mentioned in like probably the last 2 episodes where like, okay, can I get an update? Like, what's going on here? So I want to make sure I give you guys all the tea, all the updates. I just want to make sure I get Darian on the podcast in order to do that. So that way I'm getting 2 perspectives. I love when Darian's on the podcast because we can definitely converse like back and forth forever. I love having conversations with him. Like, I wish I literally said this my whole entire life. Like, if I literally had like a VH1 like sponsor me or like follow me around and give me a camera crew, or 106 Park or Fuse or whatever nowadays it is. If I literally had a camera crew, you guys, like I would be like just as famous as the Kardashians. I promise you, like, I'm very entertaining. My life is very entertaining. Like, y'all would see some shit and y'all be like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me right now? So I just wanted to make sure that I had Darian on the podcast to give you guys all those updates. With further ado, let me go ahead and get into today's episode. Episode 24, Ice Ice Baby, okay? And like I said, no, I am not talking about no vanilla ice. This ice is inspire, create, and elevate. That is my mission. That is what I want to do. That is what I'm pursuing. That is with every content, every podcast episode, every book that I write, everything that I do, every business venture, every time I speak, I want it to be something inspiring. I want to create something that inspires you, something that resonates with you. And I hope in that way, it helps you elevate. It helps me elevate. I hope it elevates what you have going on in your life. And I hope it just kickstarts like a little fire under you. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people, they don't have a mission. You know what I mean? Everyone just wants to be something, wants to be successful. Everyone wants to have certain things. But at the end of the day, no one is trying to serve others within it. You know what I mean? Like in my mission, in my why, things that I want to do, how I want to be successful. All of it at the end of the day gears to serving others. I'm a big server when it comes to others. I love helping. I love giving my all to someone. And I'm writing a book currently about that, about, what it is to be unconditional to someone, regardless if it's love, if it's time, if it's energy. I'm literally giving unconditional everything to a person or to what I'm trying to do and succeed in and stuff. And I just felt like, it will resonate with a lot of people. So that's definitely something that I just want to make sure that you as a listener always understand with this podcast and, with the rebranding of the podcast, evolving through vulnerability, that you just understand I'm here to create, I'm here to inspire, I'm here to build, I'm here to elevate you, spiritually, mentally, some way, financially. Hopefully something I says, can be like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Maybe I need to, change the way I do a couple of things and everything. Everything in life is all about perspective. How the way we see things, how the way we adapt to things. My grandfather, who I called Tata, he always, told me growing up, improvise, adapt, and overcome. You know what I mean? As the pandemic was happening, we were improvising of what we thought was best, what right now we think is best. And right now it's the time to adapt. We have to adapt with the way that the world is changing and realize that it's not going back to the way that it was. We have to adapt with how the way it is now. So that way we can overcome and come out on top and, be who we are, who we're meant to be, and, really evolve in that way. And that's by evolving, that's how we elevate. So that's why today's podcast episode is called Ice Ice Baby. It's just, inspire, create, elevate, ice. So I thought that was kind of cute. And, I just definitely want to make sure that I talk about things that I know information about, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure that everything that I say is about parenting because I'm a parent. I want to make sure that when I discuss relationships, I've been in relationships before. I've been in shitty ones. I've been in just random sexual relationships. I'm in a committed relationship, hopefully going to be a marriage. So that way I can, talk about marriage and give marriage advice and give more insight on my relationship and stuff. You know what I mean? So everything that I talk about, my goal is to make sure that it is credible information, incredible situations and moments that really speak and can resonate with you as a listener and as a, a person, coming to this podcast, because it's really important to me that I always leave you guys with something that you can resonate with. It's just really important to me. And also, I just wanted to let you guys know some life updates without really giving you all the tea until Darian gets here. But I wrote a book, and my book is called A Letter to the Younger Me. And I feel like this book is just so powerful and just so important because it talks about the 4 pivotal moments in my life. And people are like, okay, Mariana, you're only 24, 25. Like what pivotal moments, like what could you possibly go through that you can write a book and talk about? And let me tell you, the pivotal moments, the chapters in my book discuss love, parenthood, career, spirituality, and faith. Okay, I feel like those right there can resonate with anyone and everyone, regardless if you read my book from cover to cover or if you just go with a chapter that resonates with you, depending on the type of reader that you are. I promise you something in the book is going to resonate with you and is going to be something that you can take away. You know what I mean? It was so in me to write this book because I was like, I have a story. I have something to say. And I had to take a step back from the podcast because I was like, I'm just talking too much. But is it really sticking? Is it really getting to everyone? Is it really resonating with them? So I was like, you know what? Instead of, making a 36-hour long podcast episode or, something, let me give the people something tangible, something that they can go back and really reread and see and highlight and annotate and sticky note, whatever type of person that you are. So that's what I did. I took my time and I used it valuably, and I wrote a book, and it's a memoir, and it's so beautiful, and I give it on my all. I literally dump my heart out into it. And in this book, it's not only talking to, just a book. It's what is the word I'm looking for? It's a type of book where, I ask questions and I give you line space to go in and write your responses and stuff like that, and really kind of deep dive in. It's not like a journal, but you're able to also, do stuff in the book and reflect. I like the fact that in my book, I give you opportunity to reflect, to think. I think that right there is what's going to stand out about this book. A lot of books make you reflect if you stop, but no book makes you reflect as you're reading. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, regardless if you read cover to cover or a chapter that resonates with you, the point of the book is to give you all the lessons that I've learned and give you letters that I would have wrote to a younger me, a younger version of myself, because we all had a knowing what I know now moment, Oh my gosh, knowing what I know now, I know damn well I wouldn't have fucked with him. Or knowing what I know now, I definitely would have made a better choice when it came to money. So I'm just really excited for this book to come out. It is definitely launching February 4th of 2022, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm so excited for everyone who gets this book. I'm overwhelmed with the idea of sharing my story and telling you guys all the tea in my life and give you guys just the vulnerable self of Mariana. And it was so healing. When writing this book, there's been times where I was literally crying when writing this book, because it was just like I had to reflect. I had to relive certain moments to get the story out. And that was hard. It was really hard. And I just wanted to make sure that when I gave you guys that information, that everything that was there was truly heartfelt, was sincere from the bottom of my heart. I talk about some very interesting things inside of the book, and I can't wait for you guys as listeners and readers to deep dive into it and tag me on Instagram or write a review on here and telling me what you think, or write a review and letting me know what more ideas you want to hear, content ideas, or possibly a book that you would love to read, and maybe I can write that book. Maybe that resonates with me and I can elaborate more on it. I'm hoping to be able to give more. And as I said, this year for me is all about touching lives, touching hearts and stuff. So I definitely hope that this book can resonate with you and touch you in some way, shape, or form to help improve and bring change and bring elevation and some type of inspiration in your life. Any surprises in the book? Let me see. I'm looking at my notes here. It's been so long since I did a podcast, you guys. So any surprises in my book? So in my love chapter, I actually did involve Darian. I have 2 characters in my love chapter. I changed 3 names in the book. I changed Darian's name. I changed someone else's name, and then I changed another person's name. And the reason why I changed these people's names is because, I don't want to hurt any feelings, because it's my truth at the end of the day. And I also was just spilling tea, and when I was writing my manuscript or my rough draft, I was just going. I wasn't really trying to plan out anything. I did do a mind map or brainstorm ideas or whatever, but as I was writing, I was just going. It didn't matter to me what my brain map was saying, because as I was writing, I was feeling. And as I was feeling, I was like, I have to get this out. So I wasn't worried about anybody, what I might say to hurt other people and stuff. But once I, reread it, and it was like, oh shit, I got to change some names in here. I'm going to be self-incriminating myself, self-incriminating other people. I'm going to get lawsuits. So I was like, oh my goodness. I was a little overwhelmed. So I had to make sure that I changed a couple of names inside the book. I changed Darian's name just in case, because I kind of did put our business out there in our story. And, I never asked Darian if that was okay. And now that I'm telling you guys that it's Darian, I mean, I felt like it was very obvious. But, I mean, yeah, I know he's excited to read about what I put and what I said. And, when I was writing the book, he read like little snippets. So I'm like, how does this sound? Like, does it sound like me? Like, can you hear my voice? Like, that was really big for me when writing this book. I was like, I want to make sure that when people read it, it sounds like me. You know what I mean? Like, you guys listening to me on the podcast, though, some of you might not know me personally. When you read my book, you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like Mariana. Like, fuck yeah. I can hear you, bitch. I hear you through this story. Let's go. Keep going. Keep going. So I just wanted to make sure that my voice came across and that it sounded like me and it wasn't just something you were reading, but something you were feeling. I wanted to really bring emotion in this book. I wanted every page that you turn, every word that you read, be like, oh my gosh, like I'm resonating with this. I feel this, or I feel for you. Like, this is great. This is a great read. It's, it's a nail biter. It's a page turner. Like, I just want more. I want more. So that was really important to me as a writer, as a upcoming author, that what I'm putting out is just really, really heart-filling and truthful and vulnerable and all those amazing good words that, I feel like will really, really resonate. There goes another one. Resonate with you guys. And I'm nervous to share my story because, I put family in there and stuff and how the way they made me feel, or, certain things that kind of happened in my childhood. I talk about a little bit, and you kind of see growth there. And I talk about colorism growing up and just a lot of things that I just, as an adult, I'm like, when certain things happen as a parent, you know what I mean? Or, when you get older and you start dealing with certain family members, you're like, I dealt with that shit when I was young. Don't nobody want to deal with that shit as an adult. Like, I'm grown enough. Like, I pay my own fucking bills. I pay my motherfucking taxes. Like, if I don't want to be around you and if I don't want to consider you family, then that's just it. What, because a piece of paper tell me we got the same last name, we family? Nope. So yeah, so that to me, the answer is just no. But if you guys hear snoring and stuff, Nevaeh has just came in on the recording session. So she is currently right here in my lap, snoring away, trying to get her late nap in, as you know what I mean. So yeah, just so that way you guys know what that background noise is. Also, what I want to talk about too is where my book will be available. Where my book will be available. My book will be on Amazon, guys. So you guys will be able to go on Amazon February 4th, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and purchase my book. I will also have a link on all of my social medias. I will make sure to send emails out. If you guys are on my email list, make sure if you're not, you get on my email list, because I'll be letting you know ahead of time and then give you guys the link before, so that way you guys can have a pre-sale. If you guys want to read an introduction chapter, my introduction chapter in my book, absolutely free before the book comes out, make sure you guys are subscribed to my email list, or you guys can go on my website and then look at at the top of the bar is going to show the different categories. You're able to click on book teaser, and it's going to give you the introduction chapter to my book, so that way you're able to read it before the book even comes out, which is absolutely amazing, because you're gonna get so much out of just the introduction chapter than some would get, from a book or maybe a memoir or something like that. So I wanted to make sure that you guys read a piece of the book to see if it would even resonate with you, see if it would even be of interest to you. And so I'm super excited. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Check that out. And then what else do I want to talk about is, I guess I wrote down here, who can this story resonate with? And it's crazy when answering this question, because I honestly, as a writer and as an author, because I got mentorship when writing this book. I'm going through a publishing company to get this book published. And so as doing that, as a Black author, as a first time author, as a first-time writer, I had to go through all these steps and trainings and, different things when it came to writing this book. So I wanted to make sure that I gave it my all to make sure that at the end of the day, I'm giving my audience, I'm giving the readers, I'm giving someone not just a tangible object, but something valuable, especially if I'm going to ask you guys to purchase something, So it was really important to me. So when writing, they tell you, okay, you need to know your target audience. Who's your target audience with anything you do, regardless if it's a business, a podcast, who's your listener? Who's this? Like, build a character. Who is the person that you're trying to reach? Who's the person that you're trying to get to buy something? And the thing is, when it comes to my book, I feel like it can literally resonate with everyone. If you are someone who, we've all gone through relationships, we've all been hurt, we all have hurt people, we've all have, gone the whole 9 yards when it came to situations, when it came to love and relationships, and we all have been in love and been out of love, fell in and fell out. So I feel like if you're a person who's been in love or is in love, my love chapter will resonate with you. And if you're a parent or have a friend who's a parent or know someone who's a parent, or even if you just take yourself and you just take a step back and you think of it as like how the way you were parent growing up, my parenting chapter is for you. You don't necessarily have to be a parent to read it, because I just tell you my experience as a parent and what I've gone through and what I've dealt with, and also how the way I was raised and how the way it's transformed me into a parent myself, and how I want to raise my daughter and raise future kids, and how I want my family to be. So that's also a chapter for you. Then if you're looking at, spirituality and faith, at some point in time, everyone, takes a time where they're like, hey, I need to pray. Hey, if you do this one thing for me, I promise I'll pray. I promise I'll stop this and do this. So I feel like when you're reading my spirituality and faith chapter, you're going to, I talk about my trip to Ecuador and, doing psychedelics. And I talk about, how I feel about, going to church and, growing up in the church and, being raised with 2 different religions and stuff like that. So I feel like that chapter, if you're struggling with religion, if you're trying to find some type of faith, if you're trying to get a little bit more insight in faith and spirituality or anything like that, I feel like that chapter right there can resonate with you. And my last chapter, career, I feel like if you're going through a career, had a career change, lost your job or anything like that, I feel like the way our day and age is now with career entrepreneurship, or, people who go to work and go to school and to get all this money and to really not do something in the career path that they were supposed to do, my career chapter can resonate with you. As I said, you can read my book cover to cover or just read particular chapters that resonate with you. But I feel like you're going to be able to take away something from my book. And that's why I wrote the book. That's why it's so important to me for the way that I was writing the book. I wanted to make sure that anybody and everybody could take something from it, because the book is all about being vulnerable, being open, having an open mind, having an open heart, and it's all about perspective. No matter how the way you interpreted the book, it's going to be interpreted a way that is geared for you, how the way you choose to interpret it. It's all about perspective. So that's why I feel like my book can really resonate with anyone. So that's all I have for today's episode. I do apologize. It is a short episode, but I promise next episode I will try to get Darian on the podcast. I got some planning, marketing, and content that I need to create and stuff. So we are back. Welcome to 2022. I'm super happy to be back with you guys. Like I said, with the rebrand, evolving through vulnerability. I'm so happy to be vulnerable with you guys, take a deep dive into what vulnerability is, what it looks like, and see how that looks for you guys and what that can bring. So if you guys want to see more about my book on my website, make sure you guys go to www.authormarianagarola.com. subscribe to my email list, or feel free to email me if you guys have any questions. And my email here is author.marianagarola@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at author Mariana Garola, or on the podcast Instagram, evolving_vulnerability. And make sure you guys remember that my book will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and I'm going to try to get it on Goodreads. All right, see you guys on next episode.